Hello everyone, this is chapter 11, covering the fat-soluble vitamins, including vitamins A, D, E, and K. These are your learning objectives. Introduction. Fat-soluble vitamins differ from water-soluble vitamins in that they require bile for digestion and absorption. Recall that bile is an emulsifier, meaning it allows for the mixing of fat or oil in a watery solution. This allows for digestion and absorption. They travel through the lymphatic system. Excesses are stored in the liver and adipose tissues. They are not readily excreted like water-soluble vitamins would be, and this increases their risk of toxicity. Both fat and water-soluble vitamins are very important and play their own role. Beta-carotene is a precursor to vitamin A. It's a carotenoid, which is a pigment commonly found in plants and animals. Beta-carotene has an orange pigment. There are three different forms of vitamin A, and those include retinol, retinal, and retinoic acid. These are collectively known as retinoids. Cells can convert retinol to retinal and to other active forms of vitamin A as needed. As far as absorption and conversion, vitamin A is stored in the liver, where retinol-binding protein picks up vitamin A and carries it in blood. Cells that use vitamin A have a special receptor for it and can accept it if needed. Conversion of vitamin A compounds. So you have retinoids, which are found in animal foods. When consumed, in the body it becomes retinol. Retinol can convert to retinal, and retinal can convert to retinoic acid. Then you have carotenoids, which are found in plant foods. And when those are consumed, it converts to retinal in the body, and retinal can convert to retinol or convert to retinoic acid. You do want to note that retinol to retinal is reversible, while retinal to retinoic acid is not reversible. Major roles of vitamin A. The big one is promoting vision. It also participates in protein synthesis and cell differentiation, thereby maintaining the health of epithelial tissues and skin. It also supports reproduction and regulating growth. Retinol supports reproduction and is the major transport and storage form of the vitamin. Retinal is active in vision and is also an intermediate in the conversion of retinol to retinoic acid. Retinoic acid acts like a hormone, regulating cell differentiation, growth, and embryonic development. Vitamin A roles in the body. I encourage you to take a moment to pause this presentation and see if you can answer this yourself. Vitamin A roles. Cell differentiation. A process by which each type of cell develops to perform a specific function. It's found in cells lining the body's surfaces, therefore helps maintain integrity of skin and mucous membranes. Mucous membranes include things like the lining of your mouth, stomach and intestines, lungs, bladder, eyelids, and sinus passageways. As for fetal development, in men, retinol helps with sperm development, and in women, it supports normal fetal development. Antioxidant. So beta-carotene functions as both a vitamin A precursor and as an antioxidant protecting the body. Vitamin A deficiency. Consequences of deficiency include an increased risk of infectious diseases since vitamin A supports immune function. For measles, vitamin A inhibits replication of measles, and providing vitamin A to kids who are diagnosed with measles reduces risk of dying by half. The most common symptom of vitamin A deficiency is night blindness. Treatment with vitamin A rapidly corrects night blindness. And as far as death, It's usually related to infections such as pneumonia and severe diarrhea and the associated vitamin A deficiency. Vitamin A toxicity develops when binding proteins are loaded, and then this means that the vitamin A is free to damage cells. Concentrated amounts of preformed vitamin A, so from animal sources, fortified foods, and supplements. Beta carotene, however, is not converted efficiently enough to cause toxicity. Bone and birth defects. So excess vitamin A can weaken bones and lead to fractures. In pregnancy, excess vitamin A can increase the risk of birth defects like spina bifida and cleft palate. Any oral excess of vitamin A will have no effect on acne. Also, if you look at the image, it shows a picture of the yellowing of skin, which can be an effect of consuming large amounts of beta carotene from food sources. Recommendations are expressed as retinol activity equivalents, and they use RAE, or the retinol activity equivalents, because vitamin A can come from both retinoids and carotenoids. Food sources, so you have animal sources which provide retinoids, and those include liver, fish, milk and milk products, butter, and eggs. Plant sources, which provide carotenoids, include fruits and vegetables like cantaloupe, carrots, and sweet potatoes, as well as dark green leafy vegetables like broccoli and spinach. Those are green and not orange or yellow because of the chlorophyll, which is that green pigment. It masks it. And here's a slide on the vitamin A in selected foods. Vitamin D can be synthesized by the body. The body can use sunlight and a precursor made from cholesterol to synthesize vitamin D. It's not an essential nutrient because the body can synthesize it, and the active form of vitamin D is a hormone. Vitamin D is found in two forms: vitamin D2, which is derived from plant foods, and vitamin D3, which is derived from animal foods or made in the skin. Vitamin D synthesis and activation. Vitamin D must be activated before it can fully function. So you have synthesis of vitamin D in the top part, either created by the body with sunlight or consumed from the diet. And then vitamin D is activated in two steps. One, the liver adds an OH group, and two, the kidneys add an OH group. Both are hydroxylation reactions. So the liver and kidneys are the two organs that help activate vitamin D, and they do so by adding hydroxyl groups. Vitamin D questions. I encourage you to pause this for a moment and try to answer them for yourself. Vitamin D roles. So vitamin D helps with bone making and maintenance. Bone growth. Assists in the absorption of calcium and phosphorus, thus helps maintain blood concentrations of these minerals. Bones grow denser and stronger as they absorb these minerals. As far as brain and nerve cells, vitamin D protects against cognitive decline and can also help slow the progression of Parkinson's disease. Muscle health, vitamin D encourages growth in kids and preserves strength in adults. Vitamin D's roles in the body, again, please pause this presentation so that you can try to answer them. Vitamin D deficiency. An estimated 16% of the US population are deficient. Contributing factors include darker skin tones. So darker skin tones protect against the sun's damage, but then it reduces vitamin D synthesis. therefore requiring more time in the sun than lighter skin tones, breastfeeding without supplementation, a lack of sunlight, and not using fortified milk. Vitamin D deficiency can lead to a calcium deficiency, and that's because of calbindin. So calbindin helps calcium be absorbed. Calbindin needs vitamin D in order to be synthesized or created. Without calbindin, calcium can go through the GI tract unabsorbed. Therefore, if you are deficient in vitamin D and cannot make calbindin, you can create a calcium deficiency. So a very simplified way to put it is that if you don't have enough vitamin D, you can't make calbindin, and then calcium does not get absorbed. Vitamin D deficiency questions. Again, I encourage you to pause for a moment, try to answer this on your own. Vitamin D deficiency continued. So in kids, you can see rickets, and that is when the bones fail to calcify normally. Bones are so weak that they bow or bend when supporting the child's weight. Osteomalacia and osteoporosis are found in adults. So osteomalacia refers to the softening of bones, poor mineralization of bones, and the bones become soft, brittle, and flexible. Osteoporosis is the loss of calcium in bones and therefore the reduced bone density and can result in fractures. The elderly are at an increased risk of vitamin D deficiency with advancing age. Elderly are at an increased risk because the skin, liver, and kidneys lose capacity to make and activate vitamin D. They typically drink little to no milk, and that's the main source of vitamin D in most people's diets. And the elderly are more cautious in the sun. They either don't go outside or they cover up their skin. So these two images here are here to show you the signs of vitamin D deficiency. So for rickets, in the first picture, you see the bowed legs. They kind of jut out a little bit to the sides. And then in the second image, you see the beaded ribs, and that results from poorly formed attachments of the bones to cartilage. Diseases associated with vitamin D deficiency. Again, please pause this momentarily, try to answer it yourself, and then check with the answers. Vitamin D toxicity. So most likely of the vitamins to have toxic effects. Supplements are more likely to cause toxicity more so than dietary intake. Excess vitamin D raises blood calcium concentrations, and this causes stones to form in soft tissues, especially kidneys. Calcification may harden blood vessels. So calcification can harden blood vessels, especially major arteries of the brain, heart, and lungs, which can cause death. Vitamin D sources. Few foods contain vitamin D naturally, but the body can make some with sunshine. Fortified milk is a good source. The best natural sources include egg yolks and oily fish such as salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Sunshine, so about 5 to 10 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. Of note, you cannot get toxicity from sunlight. Meeting vitamin D needs is difficult without adequate sunshine, fortification, or supplementation. Vitamin D recommendations. Again, pause for a moment and try to answer it yourself. Again, most sunscreen reduce the synthesis of vitamin D, true or false? Moving on to vitamin E. So you have two subgroups, tocopherols and tocotrienols. Each contains four members, alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. Only alpha tocopherol is maintained in the body. Vitamin E's best known role is as an antioxidant, and it stops chain reaction of free radicals, and it protects cells and their membranes. As far as for heart disease and protection of LDLs, evidence shows vitamin E may reduce risk of heart disease by protecting LDLs against oxidation and inflammation, which is one of the key factors of developing heart disease. Vitamin E deficiency. So primary deficiency is rare, and primary deficiency refers to a deficiency from not eating enough of it or from too low of dietary intake. Secondary deficiency for vitamin E is more common, and secondary deficiency is a nutrient deficiency caused by something other than inadequate intake, such as a disease condition or drug interaction that reduces absorption, accelerates use, hastens excretion, or destroys the nutrient. So when it comes to vitamin E, secondary deficiency is more common and it's usually related to fat malabsorption, for example, cystic fibrosis. Effects of deficiency include erythrocyte hemolysis. So without vitamin E, red blood cells break and spill their contents as the polyunsaturated fatty acids in their membranes become oxidized. You also have neuromuscular dysfunction. So for example, loss of muscle coordination and reflexes, impaired vision and speech. Vitamin E treatment helps correct the effects of deficiency. Vitamin E toxicity. So the liver regulates vitamin E concentrations. Toxicity is rare. Extremely high doses of vitamin E may interfere with the blood clotting activity of vitamin K. Basically, if your blood can't clot properly, you're at risk for excessive bleeding or hemorrhage. The RDA is 15 milligrams per day. The UL is 1,000 milligrams per day. Vitamin E sources. Vitamin E is widespread in foods. Much of vitamin E comes from vegetable oils and products made by them. They also include wheat germ, dark green leafy vegetables, nuts, seeds, liver, and egg yolks. Vitamin K. So the primary action of vitamin K is blood clotting. Vitamin K helps make prothrombin, which is a clotting factor that converts to the active form thrombin during coagulation. Coagulation meaning clotting. Vitamin K also has a role in metabolism of bone proteins. So without vitamin K, osteocalcin cannot bind to the minerals that normally form bones, resulting in low bone density. Vitamin K helps decrease bone turnover and protect against fractures. The main role that you need to know is blood clotting. Vitamin K deficiency, so primary deficiency due to inadequate dietary intake, is rare for vitamin K. Secondary deficiency is more common, and I've provided two example scenarios. So one is when fat absorption falters. So if fat absorption falters, like bile production fails, vitamin K absorption diminishes. Another option is drug interaction. So some drugs, like antibiotics, will kill vitamin K producing bacteria in the intestine, and anticoagulant drugs do interfere with vitamin K activity. Newborns are given a single dose after birth. Newborns are born with a sterile intestinal tract, so newborns get a vitamin K shot since they don't have any and the intestines can't make it yet. Vitamin K in breast milk is low as well. Here is a matching. Please pause for a moment and try to answer it yourself. Vitamin K toxicity is not common. No adverse effects with high intakes, therefore no UL has been established. High doses can reduce effectiveness of anticoagulant drugs. Food sources includes collards, spinach, Bib lettuce, etc., but also you have bacteria in the GI tract can synthesize it. Fat-soluble vitamins, here are some closing thoughts. Toxicities are possible, especially with supplementation because the body stores extra. Functions of fat-soluble vitamins together, vitamins E and A. So vitamin E protects vitamin A from oxidation. In vitamin E deficiency, vitamin A absorption and storage is impaired. Vitamins A, D, and K play roles in bone growth and remodeling. Vitamins E and K. Vitamins E and K share some metabolic pathways which can create problems in blood clotting. Point being that fat-soluble vitamins play many roles in the body, but also can affect each other as well as work together in many body processes. And then here is a final summary slide on your fat-soluble vitamins, and this is also found on page 351 of your textbook.